what's up you guys, this is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today we are back with another installment of Veteran Stories as we take on the 5 greatest moments of Warframe. Now, as you guys know, we are on our second, so this is our runner-up, and I feel like this is a big one. I feel like there's going to be some polarization that goes on with some of the things that I have to say in this, so I know y'all might get a little bit angry, but as you guys can probably see in the background, yes, we are going to be talking about the second dream. However, it's not going to be for the reasons that you guys think it's going to be. So let me clarify my stance on the world of Warframe quests. I actually think that the second dream is probably the least favorite of mine when it comes to quests. Like, I think that the War Within is probably my favorite. You got to learn a lot about your operator, what your operator went through, and you kind of have this, how do I say, it's like this blossom, it's like a coming of age story. It's kind of like, yes, now I am this kind of like, I embraced my void demonness and I'm harnessing the powers, right? Love that feeling from the War Within. The sacrifice was a really, really touching moment. It gave us some backstory on what happened with the Warframes, how the Warframes and the operators connected. It gave us a little bit of insight into Ballast. I loved all that. And for me, the second dream was not the greatest when it came to the story. It was more like, here's a surprise, and it gave us, I will admit, one of the best songs and one of the best moments in all of Warframe. But story-wise, it wasn't necessarily my favorite. But the thing that does make the second dream the second greatest moment in Warframe history is not the quest itself, but what happens at the very, very end of the quest. Oh my god, it was that moment when all of a sudden, okay, first, of course, the big reveal was you had an operator. You're like, what the fuck is going on, right? It's not something that we'd ever experienced before. We were just, we just played our Warframes, right? It was not anything that we'd ever expected. Then, of course, we have this whole back room that opens up for us, and I'm like, what is going on? And then Lotus carries us and puts us into our, I guess you would say, our station, our seat, I don't know what to call it, but they put us in the transference room, and legitimately, you're sitting there, I'm like, oh my god, what a beautiful story moment, it's all emotions, and then boom, customization screen, and you're like, what is happening here? I was like, because it's not just a quest, it was progression, and that was the big thing that really made this an amazing Warframe moment. This is where they lifted the glass ceiling of where you could be as a Warframe player and said, okay, so you're like here, we're gonna bring it up to like here. And I'm like, okay, so we got some extras, and you're just sitting there at that customization screen, and let's be real, the customization screen that we had in the back of the day was not all that great for us. We looked at the terrible hair that they gave us. We looked at the weird skin tones. There are some weird skin tones in that set. And we're like, all right, I guess we're just gonna have to make do. And we just kind of sat there and fiddled with it for a bit. And we're like, okay, we got our customization, it's cool. After you finish your customization though, bam! They hit you with the, which focus school do you want? No, for those of you guys who don't know the history of focus schools, we had been talking for a long time about focus before the second dream had launched. They had basically told us that, focus wasn't really a thing that they could help happen. The augments were kind of cannibalizing focus. It just, it was just a thing that they were struggling with being able to work out. And then so finally we're sitting here and we're like, okay, so, we didn't expect focus to come. We didn't expect this customization screen, but now we have operator customization, and then we have this whole world that has kind of like branched out, because now we have the focus schools, and each school has its own different lore. Each school does its own different thing, and you kind of really don't know what to expect. So you have this moment of like, let's be real, in Warframe, you look everything up. You're like, all right, so what's the DPS of this? Well, how does armor affect this? Let's see we literally have, what is it called? Formulas on how to do everything. You're like, all right, so I can swap this mod in, swap this mod out, if I need to like up my EHP, or if I can use this, then the percentage doesn't matter as much because I've got something that's healing me for percentages. It's numbers, right? It's numbers, but in this moment, numbers don't matter because you've got this moment where you're like, it's brand spanking new territory that you don't know what you're getting into, and it's kind of exciting because you didn't see it coming. So they built off of this quest, which was a good quest, not my favorite quest, and extended it even further into the game. Because now we're looking at the different symbols. Oh, the different symbols correlate to our mod, so there's some story behind that. Each school does its own different thing and supports a different type of player. And it was lore and also something to do. Lore, grind, progression, all in one at the end of the second dream. And that is what made the second dream fantastic. It's really, the quest itself was great, but the after effects was really what sent this ripple out. It also affected, the War Within. And I believe, because like things changed, we had Focus 2.0 and, things changed around a bit. So I believe that things open up from the War Within, so you do get a little bit more further progression. Now, what we saw most recently was the Sacrifice. Now, the Sacrifice had its ups, had its downs, had its horror moments, had its, redemption arc, and then we got introduced to a new character, which, of course, is Umbra. However, the one thing that DE didn't do when it came to that is they didn't go any further. See, when we had the War Within, we got to play around with Kuva afterwards, right? So we got this kind of extra step of progression. But when it came down to the Sacrifice, yes, we got Umbra. We finally got our hands on I guess you would say, the upgraded Excalibur variant. So for everybody who loved themselves a little bit of Excalibur, now they have their Excalibur Umbra to play around with. Because, of course, Excalibur Prime is a Founders Only exclusive. So what ended up happening was we got Excalibur Umbra, and we're like, oh my god, okay, Umbras are a thing. We got these Umbral polarities, we're like, oh my god, Umbral polarities, okay. And then we got another weapon that also had Umbral stats on it. I'm like, alright. And then they're like, and that's all. And we're like, this is great. This is cool. We got a new Excalibur. But it was nothing like the second dream, because the second dream just opened up into this big brand new world. There was no tease of, oh, this is Excalibur Umbra, but there's also, a Mag Umbra. There's also a Rhino Umbra. There was no kind of hinting towards more. Even if it was just a hint, that kind of blossoming. It was more just kind of here's your Umbra, drop the mic, I'm done. And then they just walk off, right? But there was no other Umbral mods that came out. There was no way to polarize Umbral polarities. And I get it. I totally get it if they want to keep Umbra, what's the word I want to say? Kind of self-contained. They want to make sure that those mods are very, very costly, so it's not just power creep that kind of goes through. But the fact that there was nothing really beyond Umbra after the Sacrifice quest was kind of a bit of a downer. Now, storyline-wise, of course, we had the whole, Lotus fucking leaving us debacle. Setting up for the new war. But the issue is, yeah, that's great storyline-wise, but that doesn't give us anything to do beyond this. Aside from, Forma some of our other Warframes so that they can fit some of these Umbral mods. And that really isn't anything else. It would have been cool if maybe there were Umbral mods that randomly popped up, maybe via alert or something for us to continue chasing. Maybe there were some things that we could work towards, maybe Umbral Forma that we could have used to, polarize some of our Warframes, and maybe don't even make it easy to get. It doesn't necessarily have to be easy to get, but it didn't kind of lead into any further progression. Right? So we had these two amazing quests that kind of led up to this, where we got the Operator, we got the Focus Schools, then we got the Kuva, and then we got the Ribbons, and then this one was just well, you have, 3 Umbral mods and 2 sacrificial mods for your melees. Have fun. And so that was kind of a little bit disappointing. However, it kind of looking at those moments really kind of gives me hope that in the future, DE will continue, maybe in the new war. Maybe that'll open up something in the Tau system. Maybe the Tau system will be the more difficult end. It's kind of like we were always expecting that something to blossom into additional things. I was kind of hoping that, you know, maybe Umbra would lead into maybe just clues into other Umbral Warframes, or maybe just some lore bits, just like these little pieces, but I felt like it was kind of lacking because of that. However, if we bring it back, listen, sometimes you do good, then you kind of meh, and then you do great. So I'm hoping that maybe the new war or any of their upcoming quests will blossom into new things. When you create something like a really, really nice emotional moment, and then you shock the player with like a completely new system, or like maybe literally like a completely new system, maybe like the Tau system, right? So that's something that I'm looking forward to in the future from DE, because that was literally one of their greatest moments when we're like, oh my god, and then there's more, right? Which is not something that we got in the Sacrifice. It was like, and then there's forma-ing stuff. And that's kind of like one of the sad moments. However, let's live in the glory of the second dream. Let's live in the glory of the War Within, and hopefully, you know, DE will do right by the new war and open something else up to us. Maybe the Tau system, maybe some of those really weird sentient arm pieces. Who knows what is up ahead? Only DE, and hopefully what they've got going behind the scenes is going to be something that, you know, blossoms into more progression. Regardless, leave your feelings down in the comments below. Let me know. Okay, this is where it gets fighty, where we just duke it out. Let me know what your favorite quests were, rank them in order. Let me know if you feel like the progression afterwards made the experience even richer. Go ahead and toss all of your feelings down there, and as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.